I'm going to tell you about one of the most mysterious and fascinating people in the entire Bible that many Christians might not know about. I'm going to tell you who he was. I'm going to tell you what happened to him. And I'm going to tell you how God moved in the most unexpected of circumstances. And this can be an encouragement to you in your own life. So this particular person was one of the kings of Judah, Jehoiachin. He was only 18 years old when he began to reign, and he only reigned for 3 months and 10 days. He was around at the time when Nebuchadnezzar laid siege to Jerusalem, and he surrendered, and he was taken into exile along with many others. The Bible says that he did evil in the sight of the Lord. But there's one very important detail about him, and that is that he was the only surviving heir in the line of David. So he was taken into captivity and he was put in prison. Not only was he put in prison, but he was in prison for 37 years. The only heir in the line of David, put in prison. And at this stage in the natural, it looked like God's promises in terms of bringing about the Messiah through the line of David were over, that God had given up on those plans, because this particular person, the last remaining person, was essentially there rotting in prison for 37 years. But then something incredible happened when Nebuchadnezzar died and a new king came to power. 2 Kings 25:27-28, and in the 37th year of the exile of Jehoiachin, king of Judah, in the 12th month, on the 27th day of the month, evil Merodach, the king of Babylon, in the year that he began to reign, graciously freed Jehoiachin, king of Judah, from prison. And he spoke kindly to him and gave him a seat above the seats of the kings who were with him in Babylon. So here the story takes a completely unexpected twist. We see this favor that is given to Jehoiachin seemingly out of nowhere, and he is elevated. He comes out of prison and he's given favor with this new king. And what this shows is that God had not finished with the line of David. And in fact, God was still at work all of that time. This is a story of God's silent sovereignty, of God's mercy and faithfulness, using this particular vessel who was, he did evil in the sight of God, it says. And despite the fact that Jerusalem had been laid siege to, that the kingdom had been destroyed, God still created a way to bring about his promises through the line of David. In fact, Jehoiachin fathered Shealtiel, who then was an ancestor of Zerubbabel, who led the first wave of Jews back from the exile in Babylon to lay the foundations of the second temple. He was the governor of Judah. And Jehoiachin played a very important role in the line of David. Jehoiachin becomes a key link in the genealogy of Jesus Christ. We see in Matthew chapter 1, 11-12, it says, "And Josiah, the father of Jeconiah," who is this Jehoiachin that I'm talking about, "and his brothers at the time of the deportation to Babylon. And after the deportation to Babylon, Jeconiah was the father of Shealtiel, and Shealtiel was the father of Zerubbabel." Jehoiachin's story is one of judgment but mercy, of hope even in exile, and of God's silent sovereignty working to preserve the line of David. Even when hope seemed completely lost, God was at work and God made a way. Now, I don't know what you're going through in your life. Maybe you're in a place where you're feeling like you're trapped. You're feeling like the story might be over for you. But if God can use someone like Jehoiachin to fulfill his promises, then God can work in your life for his purposes. The story isn't over yet, and allow this particular story to give you hope in your life. God may not work things in every detail exactly as you want them, but he will promise to work for his purposes in and through you if you seek him. And these things will be greater than anything that you could desire for yourself. So let this story give you hope. I pray that this has been a blessing to you. I would love to get your thoughts. Leave your comments below and I'll talk to you soon. God bless you, friends.